Alright, so, episode 35. We're closing in on the end, people. We're closing in on the end. Ferris Man has fallen to Nurgle. One of the funny things about that is when Mortarion first revealed himself to his brothers, it just was disgusting. I can't wait to see what he does with that. And we're closing in on the point where we're going to see what Perturaba's defense is going to do. Here we go.
The traitor forces stormed towards the Imperial Palace, shouting their war cries and their devotion to the War Master. They were met with miles upon miles of vast trench networks filled with the warriors of the Iron Warriors Legion and heavy weaponry emplacements. The Loyalists opened fire with the heavy clatter of bolter fire, searing hiss of las cannon fire, and the deafening boom of missile launchers. So vast was the network of trenches that the warriors of the White Scars were forced to abandon the use of their bikes, leaving them in the wayside as they marched alongside their allies. Slowly, though, the traitors began to gain ground, forcing the Iron Warriors back inch by inch, paying in blood for every meter of ground they covered. Leman Russ and his demonically blessed sons were the spear tip of this traitorous assault, carving their way through the defences with tooth, claw, and warp-tainted blade. Russ roared like the beast he had now become, carving through the Loyalists with ease. After many hours, the Iron Warriors were forced back to the gates of the Imperial Palace itself.
Hours?
They were granted a reprieve. Along the battlements of the fortress-like walls of the palace, the Lunar Wolves opened fire, providing valuable cover fire for the Iron Warriors to fall back and regroup. As the gates were opened to let them through, a horde of screaming berserkers, clad in white and blue, stormed out, their chain blades buzzing and whirring like a frenzied swarm of insects. At their head was the Gladiator King himself, Angron, Primarch of the World Eaters. He carved through the traitors that dared come close. Though numerous and desperate, they were nowhere near the skill level that Angron had desired. He was hoping for a challenge. Through the swirling melee of the combat, Angron and the Demon Primarch, Leman Russ, locked eyes.
Okay.
Angron lowered his massive chain axe, Gorefather, at the demon, and bellowed a challenge at him. Finally, something worth testing his skill against.
This will be a rematch.
Leman Russ roared, and with a thunderous flap of his leathery wings, launched himself towards his berserker of a brother. Sparks flew off both Primarch's blades as they hacked and parried at one another. Their blades locked, and Leman Russ growled a bestial laugh. He mocked Angron, saying that he had already killed Magnus the Red, and that Angron would soon join him in death. Angron gritted his teeth and spat back at him. Russ had forgotten that Angron had beaten him in a duel before, and he will again. Leman Russ lunged forward and bit down upon Angron's shoulder, tearing apart the ceramite of his armour and leaving a deep bloody wound, causing Angron to snarl in pain. Angron used all of his might to push Russ back, before swinging his second chain axe, Gorechild, directly between Leman Russ's legs, the whirling teeth of the axe biting deep into the demon's groin, causing him to howl like a castrated mutt. Russ bellowed in fury and lashed out with the butt of his weapon, knocking...
Always remember to spay and neuter your pets. Oh my god. Oh, always remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Knocking the Gladiator King to the dirt. As he raised his sword to finish him off, he felt an intense pain in his forearm, as the World Eater's captain, Khan the Bloody, hacked his own axe into the Demon Primarch's flesh. Russ lashed out with a clenched fist, striking Khan with such force that he went flying directly into the gates of the palace with a heavy clang. Khan groaned, disoriented, before blacking out. Lehman Russ roared in triumph. Their victory was assured.
Alright, so here we go. Episode 36 is continue. I'm hoping it's continuing where we left off. I do not want to see Angron and the now neutered. It's just, I can't get over that. That was just wrong.
Rabute Gilliman smiled, sat upon his throne on his flagship. His fleet, along with the Imperial Fists, had formed a blockade around Terra. No one would escape from the throne world this day. A proximity alarm began to sound throughout the ship. Another fleet had just arrived within the Sol system. Rogaldon ordered Gilliman to hold them back. The forces on Terra needed just a few more hours to claim their victory. The forces of the Word-Bearers, Thousand Suns, and the Loyalist Space Wolves had entered the system, travelling towards Terra as fast as they could go. The Ultramarines Legion moved to intercept. The void ignited as lancefire was exchanged between the great fleets, impacting into void shields, igniting with a kaleidoscope of colour. The Ultramarines' fleet was much larger than the combined armada of the Loyalists, a fact that had not gone unnoticed by the commander of the Thousand Suns, Azek Araman. Araman ordered for the boarding torpedoes to be readied. Revulavada was stunned. A boarding action? With so few soldiers? Was Araman out of his mind?
No.
Araman smiled, stating that he had a plan. Boarding torpedoes launched from the sign of Prospero and burned through the ship fire, striking the Ultramarines' vessel, the Gauntlet of Power. Gilliman was surprised to see the Thousand Suns attempt such brutal tactics. In his arrogance, he dismissed the boarding action as a bluff. There was no way the Thousand Suns would attempt such a tactic, especially when their numbers were so few. As the ship's crew and tech adepts attempted to seal the hull breaches on the Gauntlet of Power, the boarding torpedoes clicked and whirled open, the head of the torpedoes opening up with a hydraulic whine and hiss of escaping gas. Within the shadows of the boarding torpedo, various eyes lit up, glowing a luminescent green. The ship's crew recoiled in horror at what emerged from within. Mechanical monstrosities, shaped like a man, their heads gleaming silver skulls, marching forward and beginning to butcher with their iron claws all who stood in their way. The men of iron chanted their orders over and over again in a heavily distorted, robotic monotone. Death to the traitors. Death to the traitors. Gilliman continued to observe the battle, directing its course and broadcasting orders to the various ships under his command. An alarm klaxon began to blare throughout the bridge. They had been boarded. Impossible, Gilliman thought. The ship had not been struck by any torpedoes. There soon came reports of heavy fighting on the engineering deck, panicked requests for reinforcements and aid before the transmissions fell silent. Gilliman slammed his fist down on the arm of his throne. Did he have to do everything himself? Gilliman and the Terminator-clad Astartes of the First Company marched to the engine room, seeing the corpses of his men fill the corridors. No other bodies were found. Whoever had boarded them must have been a highly skilled unit. As Gilliman entered the engine room, he was met with a familiar sight. "Hello, brother." Gilliman was horrified. It was impossible, for standing before him was none other than Conrad Kurz, the Night Haunter.
Yay!
Had come for him.
Stuff I'm yaying about. Hospiller asks why I'm yelling about stuff. I'm in a good mood. Come on, Conrad, kill this guy. Oh, if the unremembered empire is anything to go by, Conrad Curse could kill Gilliman in a coma. In any case, like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Oh man, I cannot wait to see what Curse does to Gilliman. I can't wait. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. I'll see you guys on episode 37 and 38. I'm going to be hard pressed to not do this tonight. I'm going to be hard pressed to not do this tonight.